Good afternoon, guys. I am currently attempting to cross the entirety of mainland Europe without flying. I have to get from Tarifa, Spain, which is the southernmost point of continental Europe, all the way to the North Cape in northern Norway. And I have to cover these 5,500 kilometers without taking a plane. On day one, I took a bus from Tarifa to the city of Algeciras in southern Spain and then a high-speed train to Madrid. I spent the night in a hotel in Madrid and the next morning I went on a little explore. It is now 3 p.m. on day 2 of the challenge and I'm gonna take a 16-hour night bus all the way to Paris. So let's go. Always stay hydrated. Now the bus station is about 1.5 kilometers away from where I am now in the center of Madrid, and I think we can walk that. I am now gonna take a 16-hour Flixbus all the way to Paris. So it's gonna leave here at around 4:15 p.m. and then it will arrive in Paris sometime tomorrow morning. Man, that's not gonna be fun, because I've taken Flixbus before and you know, they are usually alright but not very comfortable, especially to sleep on them. You know, it's not a sleeper bus, it's just a regular bus. The distance between Madrid and Paris is over 1,200 kilometers, so a lot of things could go wrong on that journey. I just hope that we can make Paris more or less in time. Now tomorrow I got the entire day in Paris, but then I gotta take another Flixbus at night. So I hope that the first journey will be okay, because I don't want to arrive too exhausted. We are close to the bus station now and this area is very modern. As you can see over there, Madrid has many different faces. Now this seems to be the bus station, and this green bus on the right, that's a Flixbus. It could be mine, but I'm not sure. Let's go have a look. Before boarding the bus, I definitely need to go and get some supplies, because if I remember correctly, they don't sell anything on Flixbus and I don't want to be hungry and thirsty for 16 hours. So let's hope that they sell something in the bus station. So what did I get? I got a coffee, a bottle of water, and then I got a second bottle of water here and a sandwich which I put into my bag. And then an empanada, which I'm eating right now. Right, the bus is gonna leave in about 15 minutes, so let's head down to the platform. This is it, platform 21. Ready for 16 hours on a Flixbus? I am not. And we are off. The good news is that I have no neighbor. The bad news is that I'm gonna spend 16 hours on a bus. So let's see how it goes. We have stopped somewhere in the middle of nowhere and there is a hotel here. We are still in Spain, but relatively close to the French border. So yeah, the second day of crossing Europe without flying is coming to an end, and by the beginning of the third day I will be in France, which will be country number 2 of this long and challenging adventure. Bonjour et bienvenue. We are in Paris. The time now is 10:15 a.m. and that means that I got about 11 hours here in Paris, because I'm gonna take another bus out of here tonight. Now I know this city very well because I actually used to live here many years ago. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take the metro to a different area, because I just got here by Flixbus and the Flixbus station is close to a place called Bercy in the 12th arrondissement, and that's not exactly the center. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take a metro into an area that I like more than this one, and then I'll see what I'll do. So I just spent 17 hours on a Flixbus from Madrid to Paris, and to be honest, it wasn't too bad. I slept for about 7 hours, I would say, and yeah, the seats were okay. My butt does hurt a little bit, but yeah, for 40 euros, I think you cannot really complain. Right now, let's go get the metro and leave this area, because I don't really like it. I don't want to make a cliche joke here, but they just made an announcement over the loudspeaker that some metro lines are on strike. You get to France, and this is the first thing you are greeted with. Right guys, we are now in an area called Montparnasse/Vavin, and this is a bit of a trip down memory lane for me because I used to live here. Between 2013 and 2015 I spent 2 years of my life in Paris. I was studying here and I used to live in this exact street right here. And now I'm gonna show you the building. Yeah, this is a bit emotional. This right here is the exact building where I used to live. My apartment was very small and its windows opened up to the inner courtyard. But yeah, this is the street view of the building. And I lived here about 10 years ago. Wow, time flies really. Now, I obviously didn't come here to show you the street that I lived in. I just wanted to come here because, to be honest, I haven't been back that often since 2015. And yeah, because I used to live here, I actually know this neighborhood very well. So I also know where I can get a pretty decent brunch because I'm getting hungry. As a reminder, today is Monday, day 3 of crossing Europe without flying. I started on Saturday morning in Tarifa, Spain, the southernmost point of Europe. And I'm trying to get to the North Cape, the northernmost point of mainland Europe, without flying. Now I just checked and I've already covered more than 1,900 kilometers in 3 days. That is a pretty good tempo. I'm obviously gonna slow down at some point, but yeah, I've done almost half of the journey already. So yeah, pretty good start. Now we are in Paris and I'm gonna go to a restaurant that used to be very good in 2013, 14, 15 when I was living here. So I hope, number one, that that restaurant still exists, and number two, that it's still as good. But let's go and see. So I got myself an omelette with salad, and inside the omelette we have French cheese and ham, and that is one of the specialties here, and I used to absolutely love this when I was living here. So let's see if it's still as good. Yep, still delicious. Now, one of the main reasons why I chose this particular area of Paris is that it is very close to one of the best parks in the city. We are now entering the famous Jardin de Luxembourg, or Luxembourg Gardens, and this is one of the best green spaces in all of Paris. And I used to come here all the time because, you know, I lived right next door, and this is a really good place to go for a run or just read a book, sit on the benches, have a picnic with friends, drink some wine, and that is what people do here. Because, you know, in Paris nobody has a garden, so people just meet in the public parks, drink wine and have a picnic with friends. And I even came here to study from time to time because, you know, you can just find a quiet spot over there where we just came from, and then you sit there with your books, and it's nicer than sitting in a library on a sunny day, I would say. The time now is 1:45 p.m. and my bus tonight leaves at 9 p.m. But it will take me around 45 minutes to get there by metro, and I gotta be there with a bit of time to spare. So I think that I will have to leave the center at around 7:30 p.m. But that leaves me plenty of time. Now, one of the big drawbacks of coming to Paris on a Monday is that many of the main museums are closed on Mondays. So the museums that I actually like to go to are not open today. No matter, there are plenty of other things to do in Paris on a Monday, especially when the weather is this sunny. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go for a walk and show you some of the best landmarks here. We are now walking along the fence of the Luxembourg Gardens here, and we are going to the Seine River, because on the banks of the Seine River there are actually some beautiful walks where you can see some of the city's most famous landmarks. We are now walking in the 6th arrondissement or district, and this is one of my favorite parts of Paris because it is very pretty and it is touristy, but not as touristy as some other parts of the city, and it is so gorgeous. I mean, it just looks exactly like what you imagine Paris to look like. So yeah, very beautiful part of the city, and we are now coming up to a church which I think is Saint-Sulpice. Have a look. Look at this church, guys. And this is just one of many churches here in Paris, and it's not even one of the most famous ones, but it's beautiful and big. And then here we have a huge fountain and all the traditional Parisian buildings here. This is Paris, just as pretty as you imagine it to be. You know, I could just go to the Eiffel Tower, take a selfie there and then leave again, because that is what pretty much everybody else does. But walking around here, enjoying the architecture and soaking in the atmosphere, that is so much better. And that is the real Paris, not the Eiffel Tower. We are now on Boulevard Saint-Germain, and this is one of the most famous avenues on the left bank of the River Seine, and it is also one of the most expensive areas of Paris, so you have lots of very expensive, luxurious restaurants here, hotels and shops, of course. If you need an example to emphasize how fancy this area is, there are two Louis Vuitton stores. There was one just down the road and there's one right behind me here. So yeah, two Louis V stores in one street. If you want a top tip for your next visit to Paris, don't bother with the Champs-Élysées, come to Boulevard Saint-Germain. It's very similar, but better and less touristy. So yeah, those are the pretty streets of the 6th district in Paris, and now we are coming up to the River Seine. Have a look, guys. When the weather is like this is just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you have all the buildings, the Seine River, and then the Louvre right behind me. And yeah, the best thing to do on a day like this is just to go for a walk along the banks of the river. Now I'm gonna walk inside the Louvre complex, because why not? I got 11 hours in Paris, so why not walk around the Louvre a little bit? I'm not gonna go inside because, number one, it's closed because it's Monday, and number two, it would take many hours to visit the Louvre. I mean, I've been inside probably 10 times, 12 times, and I still haven't seen everything inside the Louvre. That's just how big this museum is. All of what you can see behind me and much more is the Louvre Museum, and then you got the pyramid in the middle. And if you want to visit the museum, plan enough time, because it's gonna take many hours, and don't come on a Monday because it's closed. Now walking some more along the River Thames. Did I just say Thames? I meant Seine, of course. I was in London recently, maybe that's why. But yeah, I just checked my app and I have done 8 kilometers of walking today, which is not bad considering that I took a 17-hour night bus from Madrid to get here. Because of course I am crossing Europe without flying. And I'm definitely not flying, I'm walking a lot and taking a lot of buses and trains. But yeah, this is the best thing about Paris, just walking along the River Seine and admiring the architecture. Here's another top tip: if you're coming to Paris and you only have one day, just walk. Walk and enjoy the architecture and soak in the atmosphere. It's much better than going into a museum and rushing. Here we have all these little shops next to the Seine of people selling paintings and books, and you don't have to be worried. These are not scams, these people are legit, they are for real. One of the most common scams here, and I've actually seen it several times today already, but I didn't manage to catch it on camera, is some guy who tries to sell you a bracelet and then puts the bracelet onto your wrist, and then some other guy tries to pickpocket you. That happens all the time here in the touristy spots like the Louvre and the bridges. So if you're coming to Paris, just be careful with that. The time now is 5 p.m, which leaves me about 2 hours before I have to go to the bus station. But I need to find a cafe and charge my electronics because they are running on empty, and if I don't charge them now, I might not be able to continue filming the next leg of the journey. So I'll end the episode here. I will soon head to the bus station and then I will take another night bus to